Hey, what's up? So first we're gonna go through while loops, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about for loops, and then a little bit about nested for loops. So I mean, this is pretty simple. So I put two variables up here, start and end. So start is 0, end is 3. So for a while loop, it looks like this, and this is like the condition statement right here. So as long as this evaluates to true, it's gonna execute whatever's in the loop. So start is 0, end is 3, so 0 is less than 3. That's true. So it's going to print the above condition is true. And then it's very important to iterate whatever variable whatever variable you need to end the loop at some time, or else you'll just get an infinite loop. And it'll just go on forever and ever and ever, and it could like crash and do bad stuff. So that's why we iterate start right here. So then this is going to go through. It's going to be 0 is less than 3. Print this, iterate. 1 is less than 3. 2 is less than 3. And so it's going to print this 3 times. And then when it hits 3, it's going to go 3 is less than 3. That's false. And then so it's going to exit and print this next statement. The condition is now false. So we see that down here. It goes 1, 2, 3. And then the condition is now false. Then I just put this here to separate the for loops from the while loops down here. So for the for loop, it looks like this. It's very similar to the while loop. So instead of creating variables outside or even inside the loop, or not inside, sorry, instead of creating variables outside the loop to use in the condition statement, we create them inside this statement here. So I created int y and made that value 0. And this is like, you have to use these right here to separate. There's like 3 different parts. So this is your variable, this is your condition, and then this is the iteration of this variable. So I created this variable, I equals 0, and while I, or 0, is less than 5, do what's in here, and then iterate. So that's like the steps it goes through. So it's going to print the condition above is true 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until this evaluates to false, and then it's going to go outside, it's going to be like, oh, okay, we're done with this, exit the for loop, and print this. And the condition is now false. And then for the nested for loops, it's the same thing, except we have the for loop inside the other for loop. And I just created this little count here just so we could see how many times it would execute. So it's going to go in here, it's going to go, okay, it's going to create this variable, it's going to create all this and do all this stuff. And then in this for loop, we have this other for loop, so it's going to create more variables, do all this. And then it's going to print this statement here, executed count, which is 1 times, because that's the first time it's executing. And then we're going to iterate count to see how many times we can execute this statement. So it's going to execute twice, and then it's going to return control back to the original for loop. Then that x is going to be 1, and then it's going to go back down here. This is going to execute 2 more times, and then this is going to be 2. This is going to execute 2 more times. Then once this hits 3, since this condition is false, it's going to exit. So it should have executed 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which means that both loops have finished right here. Boom, because these parentheses, or whatever, the brackets, we could see that it exited. Exited both for loops, and it printed this statement here. The both loops have finished. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of loops and for loops.